Am I the a-hole for encouraging my mom not to take care of my dad's affair child if she did not want to? My dad cheated on my mom for years. During his affair, he let me down many times too. He'd plan stuff with me, and if his affair partner was in town or available, he dropped me without a word. So when the truth came out, I was mad as hell with him. My younger sister was more forgiving though, and continued to have a relationship with him. The affair was revealed because the mistress was pregnant, but she lost that baby. They ended up getting married, and 2 years ago had a child together whom I never met. A few months ago, they both died in a car crash that claimed 5 people's lives. A social worker contacted me and my sister to see if one of us would take her in. We were left until last because they wanted other bio relatives first, but none of them wanted her. My sister asked if we could raise her together. I said I was not getting involved and told the social worker I would not raise her. My sister, who is only 19, stepped up, but there were some things that needed to happen first. She dropped out of her college classes. She was working during the day and going to college at night. And she needed to move into a 2-bedroom place instead of the 1-bedroom she was in. She also needed to get some background check done. But she passed. She has the child. And now she's having a hard time with childcare. She knew I wouldn't say yes, so she asked our mom. Begged our mom. She told mom if she loves her, she'll help her. And that she'll start opening her heart up to her little sister who is part of her girls, even if she hates our dad still. My sister laid on a guilt trip to her. Mom said she needed to think, so she called me, told me she didn't want to do it, that she hates the thought of having that child in her home and caring for her. But she knows it will ruin her relationship with my sister if she doesn't. I told her she shouldn't do it. That not only she would not be a good fit for one, but she would also be miserable. And while my sister might not hate her, she could end up resenting them both. She agreed with me and told my sister she would not watch the child. My sister called and asked if I had anything to do with it. I played dumb and said I didn't know what she meant. She said she knew that was a lie because mom was so close to doing the right thing, and suddenly she's firmly no. She called me the C-word, a witch, said I was heartless, that one day she'll tell our little sister everything and will make me face up to my rejection of her and my lack of care for her. I told her I owed the child nothing, and I would not apologize for telling mom to do what she wants. My sister then said I was cold-hearted and cruel, and I don't seem to care about her either. I told her I cannot pretend to care about the child dad created with his affair partner, and that she would rather me stay away. She said it didn't mean I needed to push mom to refuse to help her either, that I was still an ass for that. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. And honestly, I'm surprised CPS gave your sister custody considering she is 19, basically a kid herself. Not blaming your mother in the slightest for not wanting to do anything with the affair child of her ex-husband. Your sister is the one to blame for taking on a kid she wasn't financially ready for. I think they just did everything to keep her with a blood relative. Plus, my sister was willing to fight to take her. If your sister was willing to fight to take her, then she should have been prepared financially and had a proper education to fund having a child. She felt morally obligated to take in your late father's child. Maybe this is her way of still being with her dad? It might be selfish of her to do that, but I don't know. All I know is she took on the responsibility and is now asking your mother for help who did not sign up for this at all. Not the a-hole. You and your mother made a decision that you would not care for the child. Your sister is angry because she assumed that she'd be able to get someone to help her, but she can't. I don't envy her position at all. She's essentially a single mom at 19. And I feel bad for the kid, who needs stability and safety and unconditional love. But she doesn't get to decide right from wrong for you and your mother. And she certainly doesn't get to manipulate your mother into caring for the living representation of your father's betrayal. It's honestly in the kid's best interest that you and your mom don't care for her. Kids are perceptive. They know when they aren't liked or wanted. And she absolutely doesn't need that right now. Anyone who plays the "if you love me you'd" card is almost always a shameless manipulator, and therefore the a-hole. I think my sister assumed we'd change mom's mind once she had taken the child on, or maybe that mom would be willing to help her out fully. She thinks I was wrong for saying no already. This is all making her angrier, because she claims she's our family. I know she's always had a relationship with a child, but I have never even met her, and I don't plan on that changing. I know my sister doesn't like that, but staying away is the right thing. Because, like you said, kids know when they're not wanted. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not being an active grandparent? I, male 47, have a son Jake, male 26, who has his own son Mike, male 5. Jake's mother and I only had a short-term relationship, and it was an accidental pregnancy. To be blunt, I never wanted to be a parent, particularly not at 21. However, Jake's mother did, and it wasn't my decision. Although we have always kept the peace, things have always been icy between us due to that. However, I always tried to do right by Jake. I would have him over other weekend and for a month during the summer. Would do my best to deliver on anything he asked of me. Treated him kindly and tried to be a good father. Then, at a certain point, his mother married a guy Jake hated, and I had him move in with me once he was 13. I won't lie, I wasn't cut out to be a parent. I love Jake, but I just hated parenting. I did it anyway since he was my son. We have a very good relationship, and I've never shirked any responsibility to him. Jake also became a father at 21. However, he was all for it and is happily married to Mike's mother. I also got him into my electrician's union and had him set up on some good jobs. So, he was on much better footing than I was for a child. Back then, we had a long talk, and I told him, Jake, being a parent is a very different life. It is hard, exhausting, and on a day-to-day basis. You don't really get to do what you want to do very much. It will be a very long time before you don't have that kind of responsibility anymore. Then, the conversation turned to how I'd help him. I told him no, I am retiring from parenting. I am turning back to my own life. He has his own home, union job, is engaged, and adult enough to decide to have a baby. He's the adult now. He's the parent. I'll be around, and if there are any emergencies, obviously I'll do what I can. But I won't be an active grandparent. I've largely held to it. I have been doing a lot of travel, I have a girlfriend, hobbies, and to be blunt, I'm doing all the things I didn't get to do in my 20s. Do I see Jake and his family? Yes. However, I rarely agree to babysit. Jake resents that I don't go to Mike's games because they tend to conflict with my weightlifting club, and that I'm pretty hands-off with Mike. Things came to a head last week when Mike had a baseball tournament and I refused to go because I had plans to take scuba class with my girlfriend, which admittedly could be rescheduled. I didn't tell Jake this, but I spent so many Saturdays bored out of my skull watching Little League when Jake was little. I always cheered loudly, was crazy supportive, and never let on that it was like watching paint dry. But this is no longer my responsibility. So I told him, Jake, I spent 20 years parenting. That's enough. He then yelled at me that I am always jetting around playing like a teenager and not putting him first. I told him that no, I wasn't. I did that for 20 years to get him on his feet as an adult. I've done that and can go back to prioritizing my own life. What I am reading from this is that you knew you were not cut out to be a parent. You feel you have done your duty and are now determined to do everything you feel you missed out on. You can do whatever you like, and whether you are the a-hole or not, your actions will have consequences. But only time will tell if you find you regret your actions or not. Indeed, you read it right. I have also considered exactly what you suggest in your last line. Thought very hard about it, in fact. I am far more likely to regret never getting to live my own life if I were to give that up again. You might not be the a-hole, but you're ruining your relationship with your son by essentially saying, I don't care about being actively involved in your life. I've already done the bare minimum expected of me and I won't do more. Do you want him to go no contact with you? Because that's the direction this is heading in. Maybe this will make me the a-hole, but if that's the price, okay. I've spent 20 years putting Jake first and not really having much of a life. I didn't get on a plane to Thailand and change my name. I didn't tell his mom I don't want to be a father, so if you have a baby, I'll pay child support but leave me alone. I was a very active parent. Jake was raised into a fully functional adult with a stable, steady job, his own home, and his own wife and baby. I did it because I fathered a child. He couldn't take care of himself, and it was my responsibility. Jake is fully able to take care of himself and Mike, as is Mike's mother. If I need to give up the next 20 years and be daddy again, no. I'll only do it once. This time, I'm proverbially getting on the plane to Thailand. The price is too high. I've done my duty and hung up my parent hat. At this point, yes, I am done. I've signed up for and took responsibility for Jake. Jake chose to have Mike, well and good, but now he's the parent, not me. Although every disagreement on the internet always has going no contact as literally the first port of call, real life isn't like that. But because it seems that is what everyone wants to talk about, if let's say that were really what it came down to, so be it. I'd wish him and his family well. But whether it makes me the a-hole or not, I've taken my life back, and I'm not going to put it to the side again. If the choices are I walk off into the sunset or I have to be a daddy again, I'm walking off into the sunset. Nobody has threatened such a thing, nor is anyone talking about it. But this, being the internet, it is the go-to that everyone says immediately. I hope things don't go that way. I don't want them to go that way. But if those are the terms, that will be my choice. Next story. Am I the a-hole for crying, causing a wedding to be called off? I'm 31, female. I have a friend named Anna, 35, female, and Alex, 33, male, has a 7-year-old daughter named Frankie who has a severe peanut allergy. Alex is very protective of Frankie and takes great precautions to ensure her safety. One day, Anna and I decided to go to a restaurant, and we informed Alex beforehand. He explicitly told us to make sure that there were no peanuts in the food. Unfortunately, in the midst of ordering our meals, I completely forgot about Frankie's allergy, and she ended up eating something with peanuts in it. This resulted in Frankie having a severe allergic reaction and requiring immediate medical attention. Upon learning about the incident, Alex understandably became angry and upset. He directed his frustration towards me and Anna, stating that we should have asked about the presence of peanuts in the food. Furthermore, he expressed that he no longer wanted me around Frankie if we couldn't be more responsible. I busted out in tears. This argument escalated, leading to a major fight between Anna and Alex and ultimately causing their wedding to be called off. Now both friends and family are placing the blame on me, stating that Anna and I should have been more cautious and that I ruined the wedding because I'm an idiot who doesn't listen. Info. Were you the only one ordering? Could Anna have identified that there was peanut in the food? Why did the argument escalate? Why did you not simply agree you had been irresponsible and agreed to not be around Frankie? Anna told me it escalated because I was the one who ordered the food, because Anna had to relieve herself and she was in the bathroom when I ordered it. And Alex said he doesn't want me around because he reminded us in the car before we went in a restaurant to check for peanuts. How long was it between this reminder and ordering that you managed to forget something so important? I'm guessing it was minutes, not hours, which makes your failure exponentially worse. Do you usually forget things so quickly? If so, you need to talk to your doctor about these lapses, since a little girl could have died because you have holes in your memory. You're the a-hole. I love how you purposely left out that you are the only adult at a table at a time of ordering. You are 31. If you think you can shake off any responsibility with "I just forget" and "I'm not good at listening," you might need to be accompanied by an adult to navigate daily tasks. You're the a-hole. You could have killed that child. Hope he also left out the fact that the dish was Kung Pao chicken. So literally a peanut chicken dish after having been told right before on the phone to not forget about the peanut allergy. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister's friend I'm married after being widowed for 20 plus years? I lost my wife, Lana, 20 years ago after the birth of our son. Lana and I were childhood sweethearts who saw ourselves growing old together. She was my everything, but during her pregnancy, they discovered she had cancer. And because she was already terminal, she dedicated the final months of her life to giving birth to a healthy son and making sure he and I would be okay. She died hours after he was born. The pregnancy, as well as the delivery, C-section, weakened her significantly, only living long enough to get one photo with him. It was such a painful time, and I always knew I would consider myself married until I pass away as well. This was difficult for my family to understand. I was 26. They felt I was young enough to bounce back fast and remarry and continue life with a new family and new love. But that never held any interest for me. I've never taken off my wedding ring. I've been asked out over the years and I always say no. And if pushed, that I am married, and people rarely ask questions. Over the years, my family have introduced me to women who they think could be the one to change my mind. It is something we have disagreed over. They even asked my son if he wouldn't like a new mommy when he was little, and it resulted in no contact for a while. They eventually apologized. My sister and her husband celebrated 30 years of marriage last month, and they threw a party with family and friends. My sister invited a friend of hers along who I have never met. She started talking to me during the party and mentioned that my sister said we would be perfect for each other and how she was excited for us to spend some time together after the party. I asked her what she meant by that, and she said we were going out to dinner, just the two of us, right after. I told her I never agreed to that, and that I told her I was married. She got the idea that I was divorced, and I told her that my wife had passed away many years ago, but I considered myself still married. She was shocked, and afterward my sister was angry at me. She told me I had made her out to be a liar, and her friend was hurt that she tried to set her up with someone who was so hung up on someone else. I told her I had made it perfectly clear I would not be dating, that she was the one who gave her friend the impression I wanted to date. She told me telling people I'm married when I'm not anymore is wrong, that it pushes people away and gives them the wrong idea. I left early because she was not willing to let it go. Afterward, my brother-in-law said my sister meant well and that I have to understand where the concern comes from, because even though I found my own happiness, it's not the way my family wanted me to, and they worry even more now that my son's in college. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. I'm a widow. It's only been 4 years. My mom was widowed twice. My first dad died while she was pregnant with me. My mom told me that we stay married in our heart, soul, and mind, and I've found that no one understands that, but I do. You are not the a-hole all the way. It's nobody's business how long it has been. You are married, period. If no one understands, too bad for them. Time is relative. 4 years later, it feels like I just found his body again and again. Take care. I'm terribly, terribly sorry. Your wife must have been as amazing as you. Be strong. It's the most terrible pain, incomprehensible pain. I'm so sorry for your loss. Not the a-hole. Good for you. Other people should concentrate on their own lives. Even though I found my own happiness, it's not the way my family wanted me to. So what? You're happy. I am happy for you. Why can't they be? I don't think my family believes in happiness outside of marriage and having a family with your spouse. They think anyone who doesn't want that again is somehow incapable of being truly happy. They're also not very good at listening. Am I the a-hole for not attending my graduation party and telling everyone why when they ask? My family has not celebrated anything to do with me since I was 12 years old. My dad and his new wife had a baby that year, and I was kind of forgotten about. I would get birthday presents and such, but no party or anything. I got used to it and started a tradition of celebrating with my friends. We would go see movies or whatever. One of my friend's mom found out and started making me a cake every year for my birthday. When I graduated from high school, I had saved up enough money to go on a week-long vacation in New York with my best friend and her mom to see Hadestown. I just finished university, and I am starting my new job right away. I guess my dad had planned a big party for me as a surprise, but I didn't show up because I went out with my friends instead. When my family started asking me why I didn't show up after my father had gone through all the effort for me, I explained that he hadn't celebrated anything of mine in 10 years, and I didn't know he had planned to do so this time. He told everyone I was lying, so I asked him to post any pictures he had for my birthday parties, extracurricular activities, or high school graduation. He obviously couldn't, and everyone started crapping on him. Now he is mad for talking about private family matters. I'm just going to go over there and pick up the few things I have left in that house and just move to my new city without dealing with this anymore. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. How dare you tell the truth about me being a horrible parent? Really? People always call them private family matters when they know their behavior is indefensible. Absolutely. Notice how this one celebration of Opie in 10 years was a public event? He wanted all the pats on the back and the "what a great dad" comments. But all the neglect of Opie for the previous 10 years has to remain private family business. This guy is a vibrant shade of bellend and deserves his family and friends to see it. My dad pulled some low-key similar crap when I got married. We had hardly spoken in 9 years, and he sends his newest wife, who I hardly know, to ask me if they can do something for me. Nah, bruh, you haven't even acknowledged my existence in years. You don't get to bask in this life experience. I ended up dogging his parenting online at one point, and one of my cousins came to his rescue trying to call me a narcissist and telling me off for saying negative things about my dad/his family publicly. It's all abusive behavior, and OP seems to be aware. Get your stuff and go, friend. Seems like you've already found at least some of your chosen family, and that's incredible. Keep those who value you close. Yeah, moving out and going no contact over one party sounds petty, but it's not about one party. These are years of neglect. I assume it wasn't just missed celebrations, but also smaller everyday things that OP didn't write down, or were so common that they didn't register at all. Info, how did he expect you to just show up? Had he invited you over at all and planned to surprise you, or was he just expecting you to drop by? Did you agree to come over and then just not show up? Something's missing here. He had asked me to be home for dinner that night. Not a-hole. So you didn't turn up for a party you weren't aware of? That's not on you or your father. It's a mistake. The fact you didn't even expect it due to past behavior, doubly not on you. And your father should have tried to ensure you were there, or maybe not planned a surprise for one. However, your father then lying about the past and getting called on it, that's now him causing problems and reaping the consequences. Of course he's mad. People now know about his past behavior. Here's the thing, a bigger person would have never lied about the past, but instead apologized for missing past celebrations and saying they understand why he didn't expect something this time. Then, if they were extra sorry, would have rescheduled with you. Instead, he is acting like you were mean to him. I disagree with the part about the father not getting the guest of honor to the surprise party not being on the father's list of problems. It is the person throwing the surprise party's duty to get the guest of honor there. Next story. Would I be the a-hole if I skipped my sister's wedding? I, 23 male, am one of 7 kids. There's Lydia, 31 female, Josh, 28 male, Leo, 25 male, me, then Aaron, 21 female, Nadia, 18 female, and a surprise child, Lexi, 4 female. With that many siblings, it's easy to get lost in the crowd. Some of us have our positions, so to speak. Lydia's the oldest, Lexi's the baby. I have a kid. Yes, that's my descriptor. OP gave us a grandchild. Aaron is the golden child. She was the last planned child, the one supposed to tie up our family. She was born premature, so I understand that my parents cuddled her to an extent. But it's more than that now. Erin's getting married and recently told us that she's brought the date forward due to a cancellation. No big deal, it just means they're getting married sooner. But the new date lands on the date of Nadia's high school graduation. Erin was sympathetic but said she's already committed to the date, and they've printed the invitations. My parents normally go overboard on our high school grads, but they said that they just have to miss Nadia's. We were all sympathetic, but it wasn't intentional. Or so I thought. The Nadia later told me and Leo that she was there when Erin got the call about the cancellation, and told Erin that she was graduating that day. Erin just laughed and accepted the dates anyway. This, as much as I hate to admit, sounds like a very Erin thing to do. She booked her engagement party for the night of Nadia's 18th birthday. Luckily, she wasn't celebrating until the weekend. She even announced her engagement at my oldest sister's wedding anniversary. Everything is about her. So I confronted Erin about this, and she said that Nadia's high school graduation didn't matter. She wanted to get married to the love of her life sooner, and our family had been to plenty of high school graduations at this point anyway. She said something like, "We still have Lexi." But here's what gets me the most. Nadia's been looking forward to this for so long. She's watched all of us graduate and have these huge celebrations thrown by our parents. So I asked Nadia what she wanted, and she said she wanted to have her day. So I told my family that me and Nadia won't be attending the wedding. Leo has also dropped out. Everyone's angry. Erin's furious. And I didn't make it better by telling her that I could watch our other siblings get married, since it's all the same in her eyes. Mom's trying to convince me to come to the wedding because graduation isn't as important. But I feel like if I don't do this, then it sets a precedent in Nadia's life that she's always going to mean less than Aaron. I've had messages calling me an a-hole, an idiot, etc. They're telling me to step up and be a good brother. But that's what I'm doing. My son is supposed to be a ring bearer, but with how my family is reacting, I'm considering pulling him out of the wedding too. My dad just told Nadia I'll take her to dinner after the wedding. And now Nadia is currently staying with me because mom won't stop cornering her. Am I the a-hole? Not a-hole. Erin tried to make her little sister's graduation all about her. And you are being a good big brother and standing up for Nadia. Also, I am extra petty, but I would pull your son out of the wedding in solidarity for Nadia. By the way, I could watch our other siblings get married since it's all the same in our eyes. Boom! The last part was golden. It's always good when you use the selfish people's own logic against them. Not a-hole, Opie. Pull out your son. If you want to be even more petty, make him some kind of bearer for Nadia's graduation. Continue being a good brother. He could be Nadia's cap bearer and make sure her tassel is in the proper place and unknotted all the way. Make a whole ceremony of making sure Auntie is completely ready to walk for her diploma, and it would be the cutest thing ever, especially if he and Opie are both dressed in formal clothes. Not a-hole at all, and I would have done the same as you. What Erin and your folks don't seem to get is, when they say graduation is less important, that's not what Nadia hears. She hears Nadia is less important. And Erin certainly has a history of treating her that way. Good for you for trying to help Nadia feel like she matters too. Erin already had her engagement party on Nadia's birthday too, and announced her engagement at the other sister's wedding. She must just hate her sisters. She's so self-centered. It's very clear she hates her sisters. I would ruin her wedding. That's how petty I am. Lol. Not a-hole. Please don't be petty. The following things would be petty, which I don't recommend doing. Pull your son last minute from the wedding. Show up to the reception with Nadia in her graduation robe. Make a speech congratulating Erin on the wedding and then shift it to Nadia for being such a good sport. Nadia, thank you. Thank you for sacrificing your special day for the sake of Erin. I know we usually throw huge celebrations for graduation, but you knew, or I guess we're told, how special this day was for Erin. Keep asking Erin and your mom if you can make use their reception as a party for Nadia as well. Use your son as leverage. Book a performer, mariachi, to come and play a song congratulating Nadia, and then leave without acknowledging the wedding. There is so much trouble you can cause at the reception. Haha. Next story. Am I the a-hole because I threatened to send my stepmother to jail? As background information, my parents have been divorced for over 10 years and me, male 21, and my siblings, female 24 and male 19, met my father's new girlfriend about 4 years ago. Our not-yet stepmother always had a certain dislike towards us, and we didn't like her either. She always subtly implied that she doesn't like us, and we have often tried to tell this to our father. But he is the quiet type. He never gets involved and believes that we should feel educated by her. I moved out a year ago. Now, I have learned that my father and his girlfriend are planning to get married. Her idea. Even though our family has never been financially well off, my stepmother wants to have a big celebration. Now, here's the problem. She is demanding financial support from all of us children for the celebration, because we are a family too. My sister, 24, is kind-hearted and even offered to help voluntarily. But my brother, 19, and I were super annoyed. When I refused to give her a single buck and suggested that she should just make the celebration smaller, she flipped out, and we had a heated argument. After that, we didn't have any contact for a few days, until I suddenly received a notification that a certain amount of money was missing from my bank account. It turned out that my crazy stepmother had her hands in our accounts. Since I had a good relationship with my father, he had access to one account, which money she simply took. It wasn't a significant amount, but when she refused to return the money, I threatened to report her to the police for theft. Now, all the relatives think that I want to prevent the wedding, and they say, "Don't make such a fuss, family's more important than money, blah blah." But I'm angry and waiting to see if she returns it or if I actually go through with it. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not a-hole. What the heck is this business about how kids are supposed to financially support a wedding for people presumably in their 40s or 50s? Advice: 1. Withdraw the remaining funds from the account and close it. Now. Same for your siblings, if your father's name is on any of their accounts. 2. Open a new account and deposit the funds there, with only your name on it. 3. Get the police involved, but not just for her. Your father participated in stealing the funds from you, so he's just as guilty. 4. Ignore what the relatives are saying. This: I would in writing tell father and stepmom that they have an hour to deliver money to you in person or put it back into account, or you are going to the police. Not a-hole. Not a-hole. Call your bank immediately and have your father removed from your account and tell them what happened. Whether or not you take legal action, you absolutely need to change all of your passwords and account access on literally anything you have. If you ever logged into an account of any kind at your dad's house, you need to change those passwords. Tell your dad that you are officially removing him from anything he has access to that is yours, as his fiancé has crossed boundaries that you're not willing to compromise on. Don't cave on this. She is helping herself to your money, and it definitely won't be the last time. They're not even married yet, and she's expecting you to pay her way? The fact that she thinks a 19-year-old and 21-year-old have money to spare is unhinged. Adding to this, OP, you should check and lock down your credit. If she's willing to steal from you this way, she may well try to steal from you in other ways as well, if she hasn't already. Your stepmother is nothing more than a thief, not a-hole. Adding to that, in case OP never heard of locking credit. OP, you can reach out to the 3 big credit report sites and lock your credit. This prevents her from getting loans or credit cards in your name, which are probably her next step. Thank you so much. I will check it. Have you done a background check on this woman? I would not be surprised if she has a history. If the theft doesn't deter your father, a lengthy history of bad behavior may make some impression on him. I haven't found a history, but it will all be revealed soon enough. Last story. Am I the a-hole for wanting my graduation dinner to be about me and not about my impressive sister? I am going to graduate high school, so we are celebrating early since my family's down for my sister's college graduation. I have always felt my sister is better than me at basically everything. I got by with B while she was a straight A student, and so on. No one says it, but I know they prefer her to me. My aunt is not an easy person to impress at all, as she was a lot of firsts in the family. We were at dinner, and my aunt started to ask about my sister's job she got out of college. The whole rest of dinner was talking about my sister, what she's gonna do, and so on. It might as well been a celebration for her. Then my uncle asked me about if I'm going to college, and I snapped at him saying why it doesn't matter. This dinner is about my sister, not me. The table got quiet and my mother told me to apologize, but I refused. We got home, and I got in an argument with my family who think I was being a jerk. Edit: my sister has her own party after a week. That's why I thought my graduation party would be about me. You're the a-hole. Your uncle was trying to make sure your accomplishments were being recognized too, and you snapped at him. You feel insecure. That's no one else's problems but yours. Agreed. I can understand why you felt like you were being swept under the rug, but it sounds like your uncle was trying to adjust the spotlight back to you. He did not deserve to be snapped at. It's everyone sucks here except the uncle. How are the others not being a-holes? A lot of y'all are clearly missing how the conversation went on and on, led by the aunt. Why in the hell would it be okay for praises to be sung constantly for someone whose celebration is not even for? It would be like cooing and giving all the attention to a pregnant woman or freshly engaged woman at someone else's wedding. This was not the time or place for a million praises to be given to anyone except OP. 1 or 2 comments is one thing, but damn, OP is 100% still being overshadowed at her own celebration. Hell, I don't even think it's an everyone sucks scenario. She was voicing her pain at being overshadowed. I'm going to assume the uncle knows that, as he was the one trying to bring the focus back on her. But you know the phrase, too little too late. I feel like she was just voicing her pain, not yelling at the uncle specifically. Poor thing, she should have had one day where it is about her. It was her graduation party after all. Everyone sucks here. Everyone except your uncle. You shouldn't have yelled at him. He was just trying to help. Although I do think you're the least a-hole-ish out of all the a-holes here. Everyone else could have let the spotlight be on you for once. This OP's snapping was due to everyone else at the table creating that resentment in OP. Uncle did nothing wrong but got caught up in a crossfire. Honestly, I kind of think OP's still not an a-hole, though needs to give Uncle an apology. Him trying to make it about OP makes me think he probably understands. While this sub is never afraid to be hypocritical, I think we've let enough people by with a "I get why you exploded, don't do it again though," to try to throw this 18-year-old under the bus. Update. Am I the a-hole if I call off my engagement because of a comment my fiancé made about my late wife? Original post. For some background info, I, 43 male, have 2 children with my late wife Kayla. Sam, 21 male, and Liz, 16 female, all fake names. Kayla passed away when our kids were 15 and 10. I won't give specifics about how she passed, but she was struck by a drunk driver when she was on her way home from work. She really was the love of my life, and to say that her passing hit our family hard would be an understatement. I promised myself that if I got back into the dating game, I wouldn't date anyone for at least a couple years for the sake of my kids. 3 years after my wife's passing, I met my now fiancé. We'll call her Amanda. Things went slow and I didn't introduce her to my kids until we had been dating for about a year at that point. Now we've been together for 3 years and are engaged. Amanda and my kids have always had a good relationship. Neither of my kids are super close to her, but they have always been friendly and welcoming to her. And Amanda has never overstepped any boundaries my kids have, like trying to replace their mother. At the beginning of Amanda and I's relationship, she was a bit insecure of the fact that I was a widower. During the first few months of us dating, she would constantly ask things like, if Kayla had never passed, would I still be with her right now? I always kept my answers brief and told her that I didn't like thinking about the what-ifs and that she was the one I was dating now and that was what mattered. Eventually, she stopped making these comments and I stopped worrying about it. Now to the issue. My parents were hosting a family dinner to celebrate my fiancé and I's engagement. It was my mom and dad, my late wife's sister and her husband, Sam and Liz, and me and Amanda. Dinner was going well. We were all making small talk with each other and talked about wedding plans. About halfway into dinner, my mom made a comment about how she was so happy I was able to find the spark I had with Kayla and someone else. I don't think anybody really paid much attention to the comment, but then Amanda laughed and said, I'm happy she died, otherwise I would have never gotten him to myself. The tone of the dinner immediately shifted, and everyone got extremely tense, especially my kids. Amanda noticed the shift and started awkwardly laughing like she was trying to play her comment off as a joke. I was honestly just frozen, as that was the first time she had made a comment like that. My kids looked disgusted, and Liz got up and walked out to the car. Sam waited a bit longer like he wanted me to say something, but I was still in shock about what Amanda had said. To make a long story about the dinner short, the dinner was kind of ruined. So I said my goodbyes to everyone, grabbed my fiancé, and we all drove home. My daughter hasn't spoken to me nor Amanda since, and it's been 3 days. I got tired of it and pulled my son aside to ask him what I should do. He said something along the lines of, I'm a grown man and don't care who another grown man marries, but I don't want a woman who speaks like that about our mother around my sister. Sam's comment stuck with me, and now I'm considering calling off the engagement entirely. She's never made comments like this before, but I'm worried if I let it slide this one time, it will become more frequent, and it will affect my daughter. I need some advice from outside perspectives, and just want to do right by my kids. Would I be the a-hole if I called off the engagement because of the comment she made? Now, for the top comments before reading the updates. I'm happy she died would be unforgivable for me, especially knowing my kids heard my fiancé say that. Disgusting. I wouldn't be able to not think about that every time I looked at them. And his late wife's sister was there too. Holy smokes. The gall to say that in front of the woman's children and sister. Yeah, she's never going to let this go, but you can. Your son just told you the deal. It's her or them. Choose wisely. Exactly. His aunt told him in a very gentle but mature way that he's going to lose his kids too if he stays with his woman. The kid likely got his pint from his mom. Not the a-hole. What Amanda said was distasteful. In vino veritas. Perhaps that's how she sees this relationship. Fighting with a dead person she will never win. She's bitter and jealous of what you two had. Your mother also shouldn't have said such a thing. It was also distasteful. I think you will lose your kids if you marry her. Sorry. Not the a-hole. I completely understand your son. Another young guy with wisdom beyond his age. Edit? Wow, I didn't expect to get this much advice so shortly after posting this. Nonetheless, thank all of you for the advice, and even the people calling me a bad father. I think you guys' words are what I needed to pull my head out my behind. I will try to talk to my kids alone tonight before speaking with my fiancé, and we'll see where it goes from here. I'm pretty sure my fiancé and I are over though. I'll update tonight or tomorrow on how the talks with everyone goes. Thank all of you again for setting my head straight. Now for the first update. I promised I would update everyone after I had talked to my kids, so here's the update. It's kind of long, so I hope that doesn't go against the rules of this community. I'm also going to use this update as a way to clarify some of the questions people were asking in the comments. 1. Did my fiancé apologize to anyone at the dinner party? No, she didn't. I honestly don't think it even registered or has registered to her that what she said was wrong. 2. Does fiancé have social anxiety? Not to my knowledge, no. In all the time I've known her, she's never shown any signs of social anxiety and doesn't have a history of it. 3. How old was my late wife? She was 37 when she passed, and we were the same age. Amanda is 41. A lot of people were asking for clarification on the time frame of her passing and when my fiancé and I met. At this point in time, Kayla has been gone for about 6 years, and I met Amanda roughly 3 years after Kayla's passing. I didn't mention either of their ages, as I didn't believe it was important because we're so close in age. But I understand why a lot of you guys would want to know. Now that I've clarified the things I was most asked about in the comments, we can get into the update. While I'm writing this update, it's the day after I talked to my kids. So last night at around 5:30, my fiancé left for work. She works nights most days of the week, so I was able to call my son and ask if he could come over so I can talk to him and his sister. He goes to our local college and lives in an apartment near his school. When he started college, he wanted to move out, but also wanted to stay close to us, so he settled on an apartment a few blocks away from the college. He came over and I called him and his sister into the living room to talk with the both of them. When they were both seated, I told them point blank that I didn't think the wedding was happening anymore, and that the comment she made was unacceptable. I then, by the advice of the comments, apologized to them. I told them I was sorry for not saying anything for so long and letting the tension thicken in our home. I told my daughter that I understood why she hasn't spoken to me and that I was sorry for allowing her to think that I was even remotely okay with what she said. I felt pretty spineless after we had gotten back from dinner that night, so I wanted to do everything in my power to make it right with my kids during the conversation. My daughter told me that she felt disgusted at the comment Amanda made, and even more so when I didn't defend her mother. She then told me that the past 2 years that she's known Amanda, she felt like she's been gradually trying to push her and Sam away from me. One of the examples Liz gave was when my son moved out. He moved out when he was about to start his sophomore year of college, and when he mentioned the idea of moving out, Amanda was the one who took that and ran with it. According to Liz, Amanda was the one encouraging Sam the most to move out. To be clear, I was never against Sam moving out, but I was clear to him he was welcome to live at home for his college years, and even after, until he found where he wanted to be. I asked Sam if he felt pushed out by Amanda, and if that's why he moved out. He said he hadn't felt pushed out before he told everyone he wanted to move, but after he put it out there, my fiancé kept pushing for him to move out. Liz cut in and said that every time she brings up college, Amanda keeps encouraging her to go out of state. Liz doesn't plan on going out of state, and she's been open about wanting to go to the college Sam is attending right now. Liz said she feels like Amanda is waiting till she graduates high school and goes to college, so she can move out. A lot of the comments were right about the subtle comments eventually turning into Amanda wanting my kids pushed away from me. Liz said that she was scared that by the time I eventually noticed the way Amanda was acting, too big of a wedge would have already been driven between me and them. I told my kids that I'm sorry it's taken me this long to notice, and that I was also sorry they've been walking on eggshells for so long. I hugged my kids and told them that no matter what, they are my top priority, not Amanda or anybody else. A lot of comments pointed out that even though my son is grown, he still needs his father, and I made sure to let my son know that I will always be there for him and his sister, even when they are well grown. The entire conversation lasted about 2 hours. We covered a lot of the bases we wanted to, and it got emotional on all sides. In short, Amanda and I are done. I've made it a point to tell my kids that none of this situation is their fault, and that Amanda is the grown woman who said what she said. My kids and I are okay now, but they aren't 100% with me and probably won't be for a while. I'm completely fine with that, and just want my kids comfortable in their own home. Amanda has tomorrow off from work, so I plan on talking to her tomorrow. I also plan on calling my mother to ask her why she thought it was okay to even bring up Kayla at the dinner. I don't want my daughter here when it all goes down, so she's staying tonight and tomorrow night with Sam. So that's where I am at right now. Not super happy about the outcome of me and Amanda, but would rather have my kids happy and healthy than have a wife. Again, thank you everyone for the advice and the harsh words. I'll update after I call it off with Amanda. Thank you everyone. I'm sorry for what you and your family are going through. I applaud you for doing right by your kids and your family. Very glad you're learning all this about Amanda now, before you're married. I suspect you're going to find that your mother brought up Kayla in the hopes Amanda will show her true colors. When you're ready, don't give up on meeting someone that loves and respects you and your kids, and honors and appreciate the memory of Kayla. They are out there. I am married to a lovely man that lost his wife of 14 years. He has 2 amazing kids that I love and adore. We celebrate their mom with some special family traditions that I love and enjoy with them. Good luck. As bad as it sounds, I think his mom definitely mentioned his late wife to see the reaction she would have. I am that type of person when my friends bring around new people they want to get serious with. My questions are not in any way to start an argument, but you can tell based on their answers how they feel about my friend they are dating. Had his mom never said anything, I don't think he would have realized this until it was too late. I also plan on calling my mother to ask her why she thought it was okay to even bring up Kayla at the dinner. You're going to ask her why she said something that brought out your soon-to-be ex-fiancé's true colors out into the open? Dude, you should be thankful that your mother's comment was a catalyst for you to finally see what Amanda has been doing to your own kids. You say that you and Amanda are done, but it sounds like you kind of blame your mom for this, when you should be thanking her for pulling the rose-tinted glasses off your eyes. Call off the engagement in a relationship if you want, but do not put this on your mom. Amanda is the one who made a tasteless response. Amanda is the one pushing your children out. Amanda is the one in a one-sided competition with your dead wife. For reals, I don't actually believe in ghosts, but if I pass away before my husband and later decides to berate his mother for mentioning me at the dinner party, I will find a way to hunt him. Gosh, I would have loved to have a father like you. You are doing a really good job. Someone mentioned a hidden camera. Cover your back in a conversation with her, just in case. Now for the second update. Okay everyone, here's the update you guys were waiting for. Again, this is a long post, even longer than the last update. So where we last left off is my kids and I talked, made up, and my daughter is staying with her brother so she doesn't get caught up in what was about to happen with my now ex-fiancé. Before the hard part of the day, breaking it off with Amanda, I made a call to my mom to let her know of the situation. A lot of the comments told me to not bash my mom for the comment she made. Now, thinking back on the situation with a clear mind, the comments my mother made towards Amanda was most definitely a compliment towards her. And that was confirmed in the call I had with her. My mother, bless her heart, felt extremely guilty for the entire situation. She fully believed the situation all stemmed from her one comment. I assured her that none of the situation was her fault, and that I've never blamed her one bit for any of this. We talked a bit more before I let her go. The call ended at about 9:15 a.m., and I was left waiting for Amanda to wake up. She woke up around 10:30, and I didn't want to ambush her straight after she woke up, so I waited until about 11:10 to sit her down and talk. A lot of people in the comments suggested to secretly video the whole thing. I thought that was extremely smart, so I had my phone set to record in my back pocket the entire time. I didn't think she'd try to do anything drastic, but I would rather be safe than sorry. The talk with her went about as well as anyone could imagine. So, not at all. I told her I needed to talk with her, that it was serious, and we sat in the living room. When we were seated, I began unloading at her about a comment she made about Kayla at my parents' house, how it made my kids feel, how it made me feel, her lack of apology of any sort of acknowledgement to what she said, and so on. I told her I expect her to give an apology to my parents, my in-laws, and most importantly, my kids. During the entire time of me unloading on her, she didn't seem to show any bit of emotion other than her eyes, which were slightly wider than normal. After I spoke my truth, she straight up asked, "So if I apologize to everyone, we'll go back to normal?" I told her point blank no. I told her that a comment she made at dinner was not the extent of my problems with her. I then told her that I know she heavily pressured Sam to move out when he wasn't even sure if he wanted to at that point in time, and that I also know she is now trying to do the same with Liz. I did my absolute best to leave my kids out of the situation, but told Amanda that the way my kids described her treatment towards them was the main reason I don't see a future with her anymore. Amanda was stone-faced up until I told her we were done. I think that's when the panic set in for her. She kept saying that she'll apologize to everyone, that she will make it right with my kids, etc., etc. I told her that if she apologizes, I will certainly appreciate it, but we were still done either way. She was full on crying at this point and asked me why wasn't I willing to try and fix our relationship. And I told her that even though I loved her, and I will be honest, I still love her very much, I was not willing to take another chance of my kids being hurt again the way they were. I was frustrated and shot back at her, asking her why she was trying to push my kids out of their own home. And I got back an answer I was not at all expecting. I was completely shocked at her response, but a lot of you guys won't be. A lot of commenters actually hit the nail right on the head with what Amanda was truly like. Amanda responded with, "Well, I didn't know you expected me to have somebody else's kids for the rest of my life." I immediately saw red, and after about a minute, I told her get out. I told her that my kids can go wherever they damn please, especially in the house that I own and pay for. She tried to retaliate, but in the end ended up packing a few bags and going to stay with one of her friends. I emailed a copy of the phone recording to myself. The talk lasted for about 25 minutes, not nearly as long as the talk I had with my kids. So if anything ends up coming off the conversation, I have all I'd need to keep my name clear. I've texted my kids that Amanda's out of the house for good, that they're welcome to come home anytime, and let my son know that if he wants to, he is more than welcome to move back in completely. My daughter is coming back from her brother's place in the afternoon, and I still have phone calls to make to my parents and in-laws to apologize for this mess of a situation. Amanda's out of my house, but keeps blowing up my phone for us to try to work things out. I'll let her come by the next few days so she can collect the rest of her stuff out of my house, but she's not welcome to live here again. I'll be honest and say that I am a bit devastated. Despite everything Amanda did, I still love her, and I probably won't stop loving her for a minute. But I'll be okay. Right now, I just want to focus on a family that needs me and will use this situation as an excuse to bond more with my kids. Another big thank you to everyone who helped me in the comments. A lot of the advice you guys gave played a part in making things right with my family. It would be a good idea to start packing up her stuff now. A few times toward me, but I've also seen it towards others. When ex-partners come to get their stuff, they try to take or ruin things that you had in the house. Or if not packing, get it put in a spot in the garage or something like that, so she doesn't have access to the whole house. I would recommend that if they do this, they record it. Don't give her a chance to lie and say you broke or stole things. If you haven't already, change the locks. You never know how she might act out. Not saying she will, but better to be safe than sorry. Good luck, my friend. And add cameras to the property. After an intense breakup, it's always vital to do a security update so your home remains safe. Amanda responded with, "Well, I didn't know you expected me to house somebody else's kids for the rest of my life." You know, this line would have definitely killed any love I may have had for her that wasn't already killed off with that vile statement during dinner. OP, I am so incredibly sorry that the woman you love was not really the woman you thought she was. I know this is extremely painful and devastating. You were planning a life with her, and now that is severed. I'm so sorry. You did good. I know you know that, but sometimes we just need to hear or read it. Be well.